If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be serving like California. You'd see them wearing their baggies, Warachi sandals too, a bushy blonde hairdo, serving USA.
Hey guys, my name is Doug with Infotainment.com. Today we're in a late model Jeep Wrangler. This looks familiar to a lot of you. We're in the 2011 through 17 Wrangler. Basically what we want to show you today is how to install a plug-and-play backup camera. As you all know, the Jeep Wranglers do not come from the factory with backup camera. So we partnered with a couple other companies to bring to you a custom backup camera. This particular vehicle has the touchscreen navigation display. This camera works in not only the touchscreen display, but also the non-navigation touchscreen display, which we do offer on our website, Infotainment.com. So if you have the basic hard button CD player radio, you can upgrade to the touchscreen, either nav or non-nav, at Infotainment.com. Fully plug and play. The kit consists of a camera, which has an adjustable mount here. It works with the factory wheels and also the aftermarket wheels. Basically, you install the camera behind your spare tire on the back. You route your cables up. You install this little harness into the back of the radio, and this allows you to have the video input for the camera. To obtain power and ground, we're going to use the switched cigarette lighter port down here. And what we have here is the EZ-DC. It's a pass-through harness. You unplug the connector, you plug it into here, plug this in the back, and this gives you switched power and ground, which is used for the backup camera in this scenario. Once that's all connected, the last part of the puzzle is just to use the programmer. This is brought to you by OBDgenie.com. It's the rear view camera programmer. It plugs into your OBD2 port just beneath your steering column, and it'll program the vehicle for backup camera. So whenever you stick it in reverse, the image will appear. As you can see, it's not working now, but it will here shortly once we plug it in. There's only 4 screws that hold in your dash. One in the top cubby up here, just remove this. Then you have one behind your power window switch plate. You pop this out and it's hidden right back here. And then you have 2 that are in the steering panel here, the lower steering panel. There's just 2 screws that are there. So I'm going to turn this over to Kyler to show you how to install this kit.
Okay, the first part of the installation, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to remove the rear tire off the back of the vehicle. So if you're running factory tires, the lug nut size, what you're going to want to use is a 19mm socket. We're just using a screw gun here just to make the removal a little bit easier. So you want to go ahead and remove the 3 nuts to take off the tire. Now once that is off, you can hold and lift the tire off the vehicle. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and take the camera that comes in the kit, and you want to line it up with the 3 studs that are on the tire, and then you can go ahead and take off the twist tie that holds on the wiring harness for the camera. Put that aside. Now the routing, what we're going to do for the camera is it's going to go through the hole in the back here. You can reach up through the side and grab it. And now we're going to go ahead and open up the vehicle so we can continue the routing inside. Now that we're inside the vehicle, what you want to go ahead and do is you want to remove the vent panel that is here and the back cover piece here. So what we're going to go ahead and use is a trim removal stick. Pop it in around the edge of the vent. So go ahead and pop the vent off. You can put that aside. Now the second piece we want to take off is this big back covering piece here. Same principle. Now that we're inside here, what you want to do is the camera harness that we previously routed from the camera, there is actually a vent behind the spare tire carrier. So what we're going to do is we're going to fish camera wire through the vent, and it will come out in the area over here. Now you can go ahead and slowly start pulling the camera wiring harness through the back of the tailgate. And the path we're going to follow here is we're going to go up and come out this hole up here so we can follow the factory tailgate wiring all the way over to the vehicle. Now what you want to do is, the connector for the camera, we don't want it to fall within the range of where the rear tailgate will be opening. We're going to want to head and plan to have the camera connector about 3/4 of the way over on the back of the tailgate. What you can do is you can pull back some of the slack from the tailgate harness right here. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the rest of the wiring harness that is included with this kit. I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and the side with this piece on it is the side that connects to the camera. So you can go ahead and put that down, grab the camera connector, align the camera connector. There is an arrow on both pieces to aid in connecting it appropriately. We're going to go ahead and keep that there. And now we just want to make sure that this does not get caught in the range of motion for the door, because we don't want it to get pinched or anything like that. So now that we have this in a place roughly where we want it, we can go ahead and just place this here for now. And now we're going to continue with routing the wiring through the vehicle. So now that we're inside the vehicle, what you want to go ahead is rotate this latch here so you can pull up the cover down. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this plastic insert here. And once that's removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the two torque screws that are holding in the sub box to the wall. Be careful to make sure you keep the latch also, because the latch is what's being held in by the screw. And now once those screws are removed, we're going to go ahead and take our trim removal tool again, and we just want to slowly start prying around the perimeter of the sub box to remove it. We also want to go ahead and pop the cover off of the seat belt harness here, just because this whole piece is one complete unit. So there is a screw or nut back here that we will have to remove. So we're going to go ahead and grab the socket wrench and go ahead and take the screw off that is back here. Now we went ahead and grabbed our 10mm deep wall socket with an extension on it. And we're going to go ahead and chuck this up into our handheld screw gun. And you want to reach around till we see, put the, let's see, this down onto the screw, and go ahead and remove that nut from the vehicle. Now that that nut is removed, what we can go ahead and do is we can grab this whole sub box here. Just be careful not to remove slowly, so you can go ahead. There is a small plug up here that you just have to remove for the sub box wiring, but once that plug is removed, you can go ahead and take the whole sub box assembly out of your vehicle. Now, some vehicles do not come equipped with a sub in this back piece here. It will just be a blank piece that covers this, but it is the same removal instruction to do it. You still have to remove the screw and everything like that. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to take the end of your camera harness, and we're going to go ahead and follow this seam right here down the back of the vehicle, moving forward to route the harness. Now once we have the wiring here, what we want to go ahead and do is we're going to route behind this seatbelt harness here and continue down to the floor till we reach the sill panel over here by the passenger rear door. So now once we're down here and we start routing the wiring around the seat, it is easier if you pull your seat so it is fully flat down. That gives you some more room back here to get your hands around to route the harness. So now we're down here, we want to go beside the seat bracket underneath the carpet. Now down at the bottom of the seat there is a junction point of a couple different pieces of carpet. So you want to go underneath this back piece here. Now that the wiring is underneath this piece of carpet here, we're going to continue routing it underneath and we're going to follow it up this edge here. Okay, so we went ahead and removed the 4 Christmas tree fasteners that hold this panel on here. So we want to go ahead and just slowly go ahead and pull it away from the wall here. And now once we do that, we have ample room to continue routing the wiring underneath this piece so nothing will be visible. Now once we're here, we can go ahead and pull this out of the way and we will see the wiring that we routed through the back. Just want to make sure all the wiring stays underneath this pillar here. And now, once we're here, we can go ahead and move this plastic door sill out of the way. And we can route it underneath the door sill leading up to the dash. So we want to continue routing the harness here underneath the door sill. And then we're going to continue going underneath this panel until we get to the point of where we're seeing the wiring that's coming from the door. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and remove this panel that is on the side of the dasher, and we're going to go ahead and use our trim removal stick again to do this. We want to find a nice point that we can pop in, and then slowly start prying away, making sure not to break any of the clips that hold this on. Okay, now that we're inside the vehicle, we want to go ahead and open up the glove box. Now pinch at the rear of the glove box, and then you can just pull the glove box straight out. Now that we have access to all this area down here, what we want to go ahead and do is grab our harness that we had routed down here before. And we're going to go ahead and start feeding it up through the dash, behind the glove box, and over towards the radio. And now once we're at this point, we can go ahead and start to push the wiring behind over near the radio, but we will start to have to remove the trim around the radio to complete the wiring. So to begin the removal of the surround around the radio, we want to go ahead and take our trim stick, and we're going to first pry out the window switch button in the middle. And there is a connector back here that we will have to go ahead and unplug. Now once this is out, there is a screw back here, and what we'll be using to remove everything left of the dash will be a 7mm socket. So for the first screw that's back here, I just want to go ahead and reach in with our screw gun. Now the second screw we are going to remove will require you just simply removing out the liner in the top here. And we want to take our screw gun and remove the second 7mm screw back here. The two remaining screws that are holding this panel on here will require you simply just popping out the lower steering wheel surround, removing. Now there are two more 7mm screws, one in this location over here, and then one on the opposite location on the driver's side of the steering wheel. We're just going to simply remove the screw. And then remove the screw on the opposite side of the steering wheel. Now once all these screws are removed, you can go ahead and slowly start pulling the bezel off from around the radio. There is no wiring that is attached to this, so just simply remove and put it in a safe place out of the way. Okay, so now once the radio is exposed, there are 4 7mm screws that we will go ahead and remove. Once those 4 screws are removed, go ahead and place those in a safe spot. The radio is now only secured in by the friction from the mount at the top, so you can go ahead and slowly start pulling the radio out. And there will be 3 connectors or 4 connectors behind the radio that we'll go ahead and have to remove. Once the radio is removed and we have all the space open here, we want to go ahead and take our wiring harness for the camera. We're going to go ahead and route it behind the glove box and up so it comes out the back of the radio. Now that we have the camera harness routed behind the radio, we can go ahead and start pulling some of this slack up of here. I want to make sure that we leave a little bit of slack just for any movement that may happen from putting the trim pieces back together. Included with each kit is the power hookup harness for the radio and also one of our easy DC power adapter kits. So what you want to go ahead and do is, these two come pre-crimped onto our easy DC harness. You want to go ahead and grab, you can either use a crimper made specifically for this or a set of pliers. We want to go ahead and insert the wire into the crimp terminal. Push it in as far as we can. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our crimper and simply crimp the terminal. Now we want to do this with both the positive and the negative wires. Okay, so now we want to crimp the red positive wire. So we're going to go ahead and insert that into the crimp terminal. And again, grab our crimpers, just simply squeeze so that it crimps onto both wires. So now that we have this harness complete, we can go ahead and take the also included harness that will have to be plugged into the back of the radio. And now what will happen is the power harness also includes a video throughput here. So on one side we want to go ahead and plug this into the adapter that will plug into the back of the radio. And then using our trim removal stick, we're going to be removing this panel down here to gain access to the 12-volt plug so we can draw power from that. Once you have this panel pulled out far enough, you will be able to access the cigarette lighter plug down here. Now simply just remove the connector from the back of the cigarette lighter plug. Then match up the terminal with the terminal on the Easy DC and plug the other end of the Easy DC harness back into the panel where we remove the wire first. Now we can go ahead and route the power harness behind this piece of plastic here. Then slowly start to push this panel back down here. Now once this panel's back in place here, we do have our power harness up here. So we can go ahead and grab some of this extra slack from the camera harness. We can start to bundle it up behind the radio. Now, using one of the included zip ties, we're going to go ahead and secure this harness bundle together. Now, all that we are left with here is the camera feed and also the power feed. So we can go ahead and take our power harness down here and plug in the barrel terminals together for power, and then plug the video feed into the video wire, and the other side will plug into the adapter to plug into the back of the radio. Okay, so we went ahead and used a pair of wire cutters to cut the zip tie back. So we're going to go ahead and start putting the wiring back into the dash here. Now, before we bundle up all the wiring back here, we want to go ahead and grab our radio again. And we're going to go ahead and start plugging all the connectors back in just to verify the functionality of the camera before we go ahead and secure all the wiring everywhere. Now, once the radio is placed back in the car, you want to go ahead and use the included OBD Genie CRVC rear view camera programmer. And we want to go ahead and take the programmer, and we're going to be plugging this into the OBD2 port on this Jeep. We want to go ahead and take our OBD Genie programmer, and once the vehicle is on and running, you want to locate your OBD2 port, which in this Jeep is down here. Now, just go ahead and take your OBD Genie programmer and plug it in. You will see a series of lights here which will illuminate, showing that the programmer is working. Now, the blue light will continue flashing, showing that the Genie is programming to the vehicle. And what we're waiting for is a green light to show up, signifying that the programming has completed. Now that the green light has shown up, we can go ahead and remove the programmer from the vehicle. And we want to go ahead and shut the vehicle down and remove the key from the ignition. So you want to go ahead and let the vehicle sleep for about 2 to 3 minutes just for all the electronics to go ahead and reset. So then you can go ahead and grab your key and start up the vehicle. Now, once the vehicle is started up, we can go ahead and grab our shift lever here and put the vehicle into reverse. And now we can see that the programming from the Genie did work, and we have the view from the rear camera on the screen of the radio. Now that we have tested that the camera is in operational condition, we can go ahead and shut the vehicle off and start securing and putting the vehicle back together. Okay, now once the vehicle is all put back together, besides the rear tailgate here, the wire that is coming out to go to the tailgate, we just want to go ahead and route it on this cloth harness here, and then right where about it gets to the door, we want to go ahead and use one of the included zip ties and just zip it right to the end here, making sure to leave enough slack so that it can flex with this cloth piece covering the original wiring. Then we want to continue using the zip ties and secure the tailgate wiring harness along the factory harness on the tailgate. Now, once the wiring is all secured on the back of the tailgate here, we can go ahead and grab the 2 original pieces of trim that we removed from the tailgate. The first panel, you just want to simply push up so that the clips lock in. Then, moving along the bottom, lock in the clips, making sure all of them snapped in. Then we can go ahead and grab the vent piece and just slide it back into the door, snap it back in. Now, depending on which wheels and rims your Jeep comes with from the factory, or if you're running an aftermarket set of rims and tires, you may have to move the camera around a little bit, but there is 2 points of adjustment for the camera location. This time we had to move the camera over. It is a little off-center with the vehicle, but that is due to the alignment of where the spoke holes are in the rim. And there also includes a longer piece up here to use if you have deeper dish tires. Now we're back inside the vehicle after putting everything back together. So we can go ahead and take our key and start up the vehicle again. Now we can go ahead and test to make sure that the backup camera is working. And you can see that the backup camera is showing that it is straight on the back of the vehicle and will come up anytime the vehicle is put into reverse. If you're interested in purchasing one of these cameras or one of our many other cameras for different makes models, you can visit us at Infotainment.com. And thank you for watching.